We have built a temple to madness. We've already perfected the Oreo, and yet you come in every day and somehow find more ways to make Oreo. Why? We have perfected it already.
Press A to play.
It's almost like capitalism is the root of all evil or something. You know, it's wild.
I can't even see that being a feasible. No, no.
You know, it's kind of like if you arbitrarily assign a value to a human being that is greater than other human beings for no particular reason, bad things happen. It's just crazy, I know.
They turn into monkeys.
Yeah, no, don't worry. When we tell someone that they can never be wrong because they happen to have more numbers in their bank account than other people, nothing bad ever happens.
No. You get nothing but innovation.
Right, exactly. No, they turn into tech geniuses overnight because you want them to be.
No, they were always tech geniuses. That's why they have the numbers.
Of course, yes. Right. The numbers harder than you because they deserve the numbers.
That's what it is.
You know, if you can't eat, that's a moral failing. I don't understand.
That's what the numbers mean. You gotta get your numbers game up.
That's right.
Do some more numbering.
You gotta number harder before you number.
Yo, dog. By the way, that remains one of my favorite memes.
I heard you like,
yeah.
Yeah, I heard you like Oreo cookies, so we got you an Oreo for your Oreo, so you can.
Yeah.
And now we understand what happened to Oreos as a brand.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, I got it, everybody. I understand now. I understand where our future is. It's a meme? Yes. Yes.
See, I like the Brennan Lee Mulligan interpretation where, like, did you ever see the CEO of whatever company skits that he did?
I remember the one about Oreo, I think, that you sent me.
Yeah, it was hilarious, right? He was like, we have built a temple to madness. We've already perfected the Oreo, and yet you come in every day and somehow find more ways to make Oreo. Why? We have perfected it already.
But we want our triple stuffed peanut butter flavored Oreo.
Yeah, he was like, oh, it's a strawberry milkshake Oreo. It's like, you need to be able to explain to me how this is different from the strawberry Oreo.
I mean, just look at.
Well, this one's a milkshake. Milkshake is a consistency. Does that Oreo have the consistency of a milkshake? No. So then it's just like a regular strawberry Oreo, right?
You're not even trying to understand.
Or like, I think at one point he was like, what marketing? The cookie aisle is our marketing. I've never seen an aisle that is not a sinful glut of Oreo.
I mean, I don't want to judge Oreos when I live in a country where we have crisps with the flavor of French fries with peanut sauce. Or pickle crisps.
That is so Dutch, though.
Yeah. It is the Dutchest thing ever, isn't it? Or Loch crisps. Like,
I had that moment, I remember one of my first weeks in Amsterdam, because the very typical junk food at the end of the night was, of course, French fries.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody put satay sauce on them.
This is the best. Yeah.
And to be honest, I did eventually end up at this conclusion, but I grew up in the States, so the only thing you put on French fries is ketchup, right?
Yeah,
Anything else is a sin.
right.
Ketchup is the worst thing to put on French fries.
I still prefer it to mayonnaise.
I very much prefer it to mayonnaise.
I do
I'm sorry.
prefer it to mayo.
God.
It's got to be, some conditioning maybe or something, but I can't do the mayo
sugar.
thing.
I can't.
But that's exactly right. It is.
It's also vinegar and tomatoes.
It's vinegar flavored sugar, Frank. It's
right.
Vinegar red flavored sugar. but then I see this
sugar with more steps.
But you have to admit that the satay sauce, when you look at it, does not look appealing. And the first time I was kind of like,
depends on the satay. Like, it can look horrifying, but like really good, like let's call it artisanal satay sauce. That shit can look fancy.
I like how we have to start this with, okay, yes, it can look horrifying, but
yeah. And so the first moment I had was, okay, seriously, what is that?
But you like condiments that make it look like a crime scene. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
This is fair.
And also, to be fair, it does not depend on the ketchup. It always looks like a crime scene.
But this is true. Yeah. I mean, look. Here's my take. Right. I will take peanut sauce any day. That's fine. That's my favorite. Mayonnaise, I can't get behind.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't dip my French fries in mayonnaise. Like I'm trying. I've tried to be open.
I can't do it.
I can't.
But the peanut sauce, really, I had this moment the first time I bit into it, where it was like confusion. You know, it's a pleasure, right? But your brain doesn't yet recognize it as a pleasure. So you have this moment where you just glitch for like a hot 15 seconds as you're trying to understand what is going on. You know, and then of course the inevitable, okay, wait, I need another one. Like your brain needs to re-experience the stimulus.
You need to figure this out, yeah.
I need more. Because a good satay sauce also sometimes has a bit of like sour notes and stuff like that. And as your brain recalibrates itself after you've done your full reboot, you sort of accept it as the holy thing that it is. But those moments before, wow, it's just such a trippy experience. You're like, I don't understand. I can't process this. After decades of having nothing but ketchup, or sometimes salt and vinegar.
Oh, salt and vinegar is my favorite.
I don't understand how you can't like mayo with your fries then. If you like salt, because like the like good mayo with like the tangy flavors in there as well.
Oh, but see, like, look, this is exactly why I like ketchup with my fries, because ketchup is so vinegary, and the fries are already salty.
But I think I accepted the peanut sauce as being superior.
Yes.
Because the fries are salty and like mad carby, right? And then the peanut sauce is very kind of rich and fatty with sometimes these sort of delicate high notes with, these other things that they put in it. Sometimes like a kind of soy sauce maybe, or a bit of kind of something that tastes almost a bit vinegary, but it's subtle. And then you get this crash of all these notes at once,
I have that with like the texture of mayo and fries, where like the fries are like warm and crispy and like the fluffy filling, and then you have the mayo which is like velvety smooth and has this like almost, I don't even know, it's like this ultimate sort of freshness compared to the fries. I love that. It's the funny thing is though, like it's so weird how the US and the Netherlands are like on complete opposite ends when it comes to this stuff, because for like most Dutch people, but I know that this goes for me, is that I don't understand why mayonnaise is popular in the US when it's not used for fries. It's like, what the hell do you use it for then?
Everything else, burgers.
That's the thing. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, to me, it's like mayonnaise. To me, it makes perfect sense with fries, but like it's pure fat. I don't like mayonnaise on anything else.
Oh my god,
it doesn't make sense with anything else for me. And then you have the US where it's like used for everything. Except fries. It's just so, that's just the weird thing to me.
It's like, ew, you put that on your fries? All right, hang on. Can you hand me a burger full of mayonnaise, please?
But that's not even the grossest to me was the first time I tried. They do this thing with canned tuna, where they mix.
They put mayo in tuna. Okay, now this is where you find out that we're not properly American, because Americans will hate us for saying it. Like, man,
people will fight you on this.
Absolutely, 1000% they will. But I just cannot get over that.
Yeah.
They do it over here too.
Tuna salad, just what you call tuna salad, like tuna from a can, mayo, maybe some salt and pepper, maybe a bit of lemon juice or something.
I don't know.
It makes my skin crawl just thinking about it. I can't do it.
Right, like think about like Subway, like the sandwich place.
Yeah.
They mix their tuna sandwiches with an entire bag of mayo. They just literally just like take tuna and like just an entire bag of mayonnaise, and they throw it on top.
I remember I worked in like one of these wannabe TGI Fridays chains. Okay,
but
so
not
it was
even
like,
TGI Fridays wants to be TGI Fridays.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not GI Fridays.
Yeah, so we were like, third bracket TGI Friday.
Like TMI Fridays.
Yeah. TMI Fridays. Well,
Every
100%.
Friday.
Where they're a bit too open about the ingredients. They're like, I didn't need to know that.
This is not a mystery I once solved, dear friend. And they had a bunch of these different, like salad things that would go on the different burgers and stuff like that. And the mayo would come in these absolutely enormous plastic bags that you had to tear open and just mix with these different things. And you're mixing it in this huge plastic container, and it is just the most wretched experience in my life.
The magic of food preparation.
Oh my god. And I'm thinking, how much of this stuff the restaurant goes through every day. They would go through a massive container of this. One spoon at a time on like their sandwiches or whatever. It was horrifying. Maybe this is why I can't do mayo on fries. I think maybe this is what it is.
But I think that's the thing. Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm just gonna suggest something? Maybe you, as U.S. Americans, have just been ruined on mayo. Like, if you didn't have like the overkill of mayo throughout your upbringing, used for every single thing out there where it shouldn't be used, maybe you could have appreciated a bit more on fries.
Kelly, I think we need mayo rehab.
This is true. Yeah, I think the problem is that in the U.S., mayo is not a condiment; it's an ingredient. And maybe it should be a condiment.
Yeah. And to be fair, like, let's be honest here. Who knows more about French fries, the Dutch and the Belgians,
I think.
or the North Americans? Like,
Yeah, I gotta hand it to them.
I mean, there's some good
This
fries.
is the land of French fries.
It's true.
Like,
I
when
gotta
it comes
say,
to
it's much-
classic French fries, like, I mean, to be fair though, like, the takes that the US has had on fries, good stuff. And Canada as well. Like, you have your poutine, you have your twister fries, loaded fries, stuff like that, amazing. But classic, traditional, like, that stuff, those fries, that's our forte. That's our thing.
I have to admit they're so good here. As like a late night treat, for me it's I either go for the falafels,
Oh, yeah.
because falafels also late night so satisfying, or yeah, just a big cone of fries. And they're
Man,
almost always
I'll
hot
go
at
for
that time of
fries
the
now.
night.
This is not good.
it is true, man. Those like big cone of like hot, fresh fries with satay sauce, like in the middle of the night. Like, oh my god.
Actually, the funny thing is that the fries I like best in Amsterdam aren't actually from like a place that specializes in them.
Okay.
It's like Sababa over here in the Kinkerstad.
Okay, really?
Yeah, I mean they're like the whole thing. They're like all about the Levant. So it's like, you know, falafel, vegan shawarma, like pita bread, hummus, all that kind of stuff. But their fries are amazing because they're like incredibly thin, and I think they double fry them. And they have like this vegan lemon mayo to go with it, which is like the perfect mix of like salty and tangy. It's just
See, this I can imagine being good
what is,
because of the lemon, like that high note.
yeah.
What's a vegan mayo made from?
Oh yeah.
Well, the thing is that like the non-vegan stuff isn't the majority of mayo, anyways, to begin with. Like,
Well, because isn't mayo like vinegar and eggs primarily?
And mustard or something, no?
well, it's not technically it's not allowed to be called mayonnaise even when it's vegan because mayonnaise has like specific.
It's manganese-like substance.
Mayonnaise flavored.
You can call it mayo. You can call it mayo, whatever you wanna. And you can call it mayonnaise because just like with feta cheese or stuff like that, there's certain like legal requirements which kind of makes sense in a way. Here.
I want to make a sort of virtual assistant that is open source and trained locally, so there isn't a central server or whatever it is. And I want to call it Jarvis for some reason, and I want it to respond to me like that. Jarvis, make me a coffee.
Yeah, I just want to see the.
You see like the printed out translation, you're like, Jarvis, don't use that kind of language.
Jarvis, how dare you.
Damn it, Jarvis. Jarvis.
Yeah, like, to give you an idea, for example, like if I look up recipes for mayo, like traditional mayo, then like you would have the egg whites and the egg. Do you call it the egg yellow? No, right?
The egg yolk.
Thank you.
Yolk.
Okay.
There we go. Yolk. I couldn't think of it. So it takes 1 egg yolk, 1 teaspoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar, 150 milliliters of sunflower oil, and this is what mayo is
Oil.
just mostly just pure fat.
Yeah.
And that's not the egg yolk or that's just plant-based to begin with. Some salt and that's it. So yeah, and
So you're only replacing one ingredient, actually.
yeah, pretty much. Because I think like the thing is that the funny thing is I adore mayo, but technically I shouldn't be calling it mayo because I actually am not a fan of the official legal mayo. Because I think that's too fatty, and especially the Belgian variety is to me, the Belgian variety is too soury almost even. It's like there's too much sugar and too much vinegar in there or something. I don't know. I actually like what is required by law to be called Fritessaus over here.
Fritessaus.
which is, again, it's basically mayonnaise, but it's just a lower percentage of fat and less sugar, I think. Or maybe it's more sugar and I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. Wait, that's... Oh, wait, it's plugged into the incorrect thingy.
Obligatory wrong
There we
port joke.
Yeah. No, so yeah, so that's the good thing for me is that a lot of vegan mayos... Well, no, it's actually not true. My favorite vegan mayo is more like Fritessaus.
Okay.
But most vegan mayos are actually more and more tasting like the Belgian varieties, which is a shame to me because, I mean, purists love that. And most Dutch people prefer it, but I prefer Fritessaus myself.
Mayo purists is not what I thought this
Oh,
conversation would lead to.
Oh, yeah.
Now I know they exist.
The mayo purists.
Of course, Andrew, we were so wrong. We should have known.
There's another sauce that's really Dutch called like Yopi sauce or something.
Yeah, it's Yopi sauce is weird. I still don't entirely. I think it's mayo based.
It looks like it's mayo based.
Based mayo.
It's very based mayo.
Such a basic mayo. You got your base lard, you got your high grade lard.
Yeah, but this is like based mayo, which is like, you know, it's mayo, but it's like, you know, we will never be free until all of us are. You know, like...
Oh wait, I found it. Okay, so here Fritessaus is similar to mayonnaise, but with at most 25% fat. It's leaner and usually sweeter than mayonnaise. And yeah, mayonnaise is at least 70% fat, so that can be like 3 times as much.
Jesus.
And at least 5% egg yolk. That's the requirements for mayonnaise. And I don't like mayonnaise all that much. I like Fritessaus, which again, if you look at them, they look the exact same. And if you don't know your stuff, you would probably say, oh yeah, they're just the same, just somewhat different.
I actually think I'm in your camp because I think
Yeah.
I've tried Fritessaus and I
Yeah.
like it.
I think it's way.
Because you know what, to me it doesn't taste as much like mayo, and I know that that's wild because that's what it's based on, but like, it's kind of like the difference between mayo and ranch. Where like
I can see
ranch is mayo with stuff in it, and it's like that. I kind of like Fritessaus actually.
Yeah, the Fritessaus is a bit.
I can't have it all the time. It's a lot, but like.
Yeah.
That's another thing Americans do with mayo. They make ranch. And they
Yeah,
put
can
ranch
I
on
tell you, like when I
everything.
found out that ranch was mayo based, I felt betrayed. I felt like, I don't know, something felt wrong. I was like, I didn't understand.
Oh yeah, Yopi sauce is actually not that. I thought it was more complicated than this. It's seriously just mayonnaise with curry powder and onion in it, and that's it.
Okay. Right,
and-
see, this is how I felt when I looked up ranch. I was like, ranch is just mayo with chives? Like, I didn't like, just some random thing like that.
This is how I make my vegan garlic sauce. If I have like gyros or shawarma, or like I want garlic sauce for my fries, I just use vegan Fritessaus basically, which is already pretty lean to begin with. And then I add just a tiniest bit of water to make it a bit more thinner. Add some lemon juice, shit ton of garlic, and I use like garlic, like herby butter, like those herbs. I have like a special jar with just those herbs that's used for specifically that. Throw them in as well, and then you've got yourself a pretty good garlic sauce.
What do the vegans replace the egg yolk with?
Depends on what you need the egg for.
So like in a sauce, do they have a standard or is it just there's a bunch of
For
options?
sauces, you wouldn't change it. You wouldn't. I think for sauce, you would just go for. I think, especially when it comes to sauce and when it comes to the consistency and everything, you would just try and, because like the egg yolk is not really something you taste in sauce generally. It's
there
usually
to
used
make
as
it
like an
thicker.
emulsifier or stuff like that. So you wouldn't have to actually replace the egg yolk in a sauce. I would personally say you do need to replace egg in stuff like, you know, pancake batter, or if you're making a quiche, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you would just go for the thing that makes the most sense. So like banana is a perfect replacement for egg when you make
Yeah.
pancake batter.
And it's so good
it's
in
really
pancakes.
good. Yeah,
And then you
exactly.
don't need to add sugar.
Exactly. But if you need to replace egg in like a quiche, then obviously you're not going to use banana because you don't want any of that sweet flavor in there. So then you can use, I think aquafaba is more. Wait, yeah.
I heard chickpea water works in some
Yeah,
things.
that's aquafaba. Yeah, that's
Okay.
It's a pretty cool name. I know.
Aquafaba.
Their branding is, you know, on point.
Aquafabulous. We've also learned this thing recently where you freeze your tofu
Oh,
You know this
yeah,
trick?
yeah, to make it more chicken-like in its texture.
And more porous. And so I've just been chucking it into like saucy dishes, and it's a sponge. It's so good.
Yeah. Like tofu is even to me, it's like still such an interesting ingredient because it can really be the most boring and dull thing on the planet, but also like the carrier of the best flavors you will ever experience. Like it can really go both ways.
Because it sucks it all up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Like I personally just like fried tofu, like just by itself. I don't know why. I really like the consistency. I think.
I have that with smoked tofu. Like that's the only kind of tofu where
Oh, that sounds good. I've never tried that, but I love smoked anything.
Yeah,
So
it
like,
reminds me of like way back when I used to love like smoked chicken, like chicken fillet, like smoked. You could just throw that in your salad or like on a sandwich or something. And this is the thing that comes closest to me. Yeah, like smoked tofu is so good. You can just slice it up. You don't have to add any spices or anything. You can just chop it up, throw it in a pan with a bit of oil, and you have like the most amazing meat substitute for like rice dishes or curries or anything.
I had to check that one out. So I use it a lot to fill in like protein calories.
Oh, yeah.
So on the plant protein end, I go for a tofu and tempeh a lot.
Tempeh.
It's just so easy, you know?
I would start a religion for tempeh if I had the time. I seriously would.
tempeh is a little too much for me.
It's I've loved it ever since I was a kid, and it's but that's because over in this country you're pretty much raised if your parents know what's what, you're raised you're brought up with Indonesian
Shots
food.
fired.
Okay.
And then tempeh is just like, even as a kid when I ate meat and dairy and everything, like tempeh was always my favorite, and it's always stayed that way. I adore tempeh.
I like these two ingredients because they play well with so many other ingredients.
Yeah.
So it almost doesn't matter what vegetables I've grilled up or what kind of sauce I got going on. You can always grill up a bit of tempeh and throw it on top, or you can always freeze a brick of tofu and chop it up and toss it in.
Yeah.
It's like they just play well with everybody, They're like the popular kids in the playground or something. They know everybody. They're the social connectors. Whenever I want plant proteins, I happily just chuck them in and it always just works.
It's weird because it took me years to finally realize how to prepare tempeh myself decently. Like I would always burn it, for example, or undercook it until I found out like, oh no, wait, you first basically sort of shallow fry your tempeh until it's like golden brown on the outsides. Then you take it out. Then you throw it in with like a marinade. You leave it alone for like 20 minutes. And then you only have to really shortly shallow fry that again, basically. Because if you do it the other way around, where you throw it in a pan with the marinade, then it's going to burn on the outside, but it's going to stay undercooked on the inside. Or if you throw it in a pan, cook it, and then throw in the marinade, it's not going to stay in there long enough for it to get all well done. This is the perfect way. I was just always not patient enough. You have to, you need a double take, basically, for tempeh.
Yeah, I use a grill pan. So I grill it on both sides, so you get a nice sear on the outside. And then if you just chop it up and you have a dish that has some kind of sauce at the bottom, you just chuck it in. Again, it plays so well. Oh no!